Sylvain Francisco, an extension with Zalgiris. He did it during the season, removed that exit clause that he had, and now he's signed with Zalgiris until 2027. Your first reactions: a positive reaction, a neutral reaction, a negative reaction?
Super positive. If I would have to tier those emotions, it would be the S tier.
Of course.
Because I think a lot of teams would have wanted Francisco, not this summer because the EuroLeague off-season starts super early, but it's a huge win for Zalgiris, who now have not only managed to find a player that can break out, like they did with Evans in the last couple of years, but they managed to retain a player for more than one season that actually made the breakout season. So that's a huge step for this organization, I think. Of course, it helped that Francisco loves the city, loves Kaunas, loves fans, just loves being here. And our winter was pretty good, I would say. So he didn't miss the sun. But anyway, let's not get into those details. I think Zalgiris made a fantastic job just because other teams could have paid him more money. And I think if Zalgiris waited longer, they would have found someone who would have just overpaid, let's say. Because in the recent years, in recent summers, there were a lot of teams that did that. So I imagine like two teams on top of my head, Milano and Barcelona, they really need the type of player that Cisco is. They are known for spending money. I would imagine they would have offered like over 1 million euros to Francisco, and Zalgiris, by the rumors, did not do that. So I think it's a great move. It's amazing that it happened early in March, and just a huge win for Zalgiris, I think.
And I wish Francisco actually revealed what other teams were showing interest, because I think yesterday after the game, after nailing, by the way, a game winner against Paris, which gave you a lot of emotions, I saw on a little clip on Instagram.
Yeah.
After that, he said that there were actually teams that were already interested in his in actually signing him for later, but he said, Zalgiris fans, don't worry. But I really wish I knew which other teams were interested, because that would show me how much he values Zalgiris. Because, I mean, it already is showing a lot. First of all, he's looking at Zalgiris not as a stepping stone. We're used to kind of like, okay, so you come to Zalgiris, raise your stocks, and you go somewhere else. Keenan Evans, the player you just mentioned, is a perfect example of that. He came from Maccabi, where he wasn't really getting the role he needed to showcase his skills and talent. And then he goes to Zalgiris, becomes an unquestionable leader of the team. Of course, the injuries were really in the way of actually probably the injury he had made him stay a season longer, to be honest.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
But the point was that Keenan Evans just earned himself a much bigger contract in Olympiacos, and now at some point he's going to play for them. With this signing, Sylvain Francisco says, Zalgiris is not just a stepping stone for someone like me. It can be a serious EuroLeague team, a serious EuroLeague contender. This season, he's saying, the season's not done. I know everyone's writing us off already, but we can still make the play-in or even the playoffs. To be honest, they're capable of both in terms of theoretical chances. But at the same time, he also said, I wanted to make the Final Four with Zalgiris, which is, a big statement, maybe a bit, up there in the clouds. But Zalgiris has made the Final Four before, having not the biggest budget, and building a strong core with a strong leader like Sylvain Francisco has proven to be, I think is the first step to, getting to those bigger goals like that. So
yeah, for sure. Like to actually retain a player, Zalgiris don't need right now to change the whole team. Like they have him. He's the guy that will have the ball in the fourth quarter this season and the next season. He's the top four scorer in the fourth quarter in this season of the EuroLeague. Only Keenan, Carson Edwards, and Nigel Hayes-Davis has more points, higher point average in the fourth quarter. So that's huge. How many clutch shots we have seen already? Yesterday, Barcelona in the first round. He had already 5 games where he had scored 10 points or more only in the fourth quarter. So that's just huge. So now you don't need to change much with Zalgiris. You need just another guy who is more of a playmaker next to him, maybe a taller one. That's why also I think Barcelona was a really good spot, because you have Satoransky there, who is a bigger point guard. He's a point guard.
You do have Satoransky, but at the same time, Satoransky's been on a slide down in terms of performance.
For sure.
But I agree with you.
I meant, just that type of player that he is. More of a passer than scorer.
Exactly. Yeah.
A bigger guy who can defend.
Because what we saw with Lonnie Walker, the fourth, is actually something that I didn't like. That we had two guys who can be ball dominant and who are not necessarily the greatest playmakers. And that's when Zalgiris got a bit stuck in the middle of the season after signing Lonnie. So I feel like, you need someone more of a playmaker, more of a Vasilije Micic type of player who will be next to your Shane Larkin, who's going to create from ISO. You need someone who can also initiate offense and get others involved a bit more, because we know that Sylvain Francisco can be a bit too much with the ball, let's call it. Like sometimes he over dribbles, sometimes he doesn't, pass the ball out early enough. So but there are some stuff that he needs to work on as well, or maybe he's that kind of a player. Maybe you need one kind of a player like that.
For sure.
Shout out to our partners Trace and Chase, Augustas, because once again, they got us some exclusive cards this time around. Cards made by Panini, collectible cards for the EuroLeague 2023-24 season. And as I'm told, these packs have an autographed card guaranteed, only 8 cards per box. And guess what? Being Basket News, we got a special code for you at traceandchase.com. That is
BasketNews 5.
There we go. This is a great addition to your life, I think, just to collect these cards. It has revived that childhood wonder of what I'm gonna unpack. I used to do it with the stickers. Now there's these cards, and now it's EuroLeague, not the NBA, as back in the day.
Exactly. You mentioned a good thing, like collecting these cards, brings you back to childhood.
Yeah.
And I think we don't do that as often as we should. And I really can't wait to actually unpack these cards, because only 8 cards here, and all of them are special. 1 autographed card, 1 memorabilia card, 3 inserts that typically have their own themes, names, designs, numbering are different from the base cards that we opened in the previous episodes, and 3 parallel cards that have the same design and image as the base card, but have some special numbering and some differences, small differences in design, unique colors, and something like that.
Yeah, we'll open it up in the next clip, so stay tuned.
At the same time, I think Zalgiris also asked him to do all those things, because, they asked him to be the point guard, they asked him to be a scorer, they asked him to be a clutch player, they asked him to play great defense, which he also responded by doing so. Like, that's not popular, I would say. That's not common in today's basketball, because the best offensive players usually nowadays are guarding the worst offensive player on the other team. Like TJ Shorts yesterday was guarding Arnas Butkevičius. Cisco was guarding TJ Shorts on the other side, or Nadir Hifi. That's not an easy task. And he was doing a great job. So one funny stat, we all know the points, assists, and all that stuff. But from round 15 to round 28, so in the second part of the season, with Francisco on court, Zalgiris offense was 27 points better in 100 possessions than without him.
Okay.
That's one of the highest differences I have ever seen in the last couple of EuroLeague years, out of all players, and it just shows how important Cisco was to this Zalgiris team, and he deserves this extension.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm super happy, actually, that Zalgiris made this move so early. That was the most surprising to me, because I thought, the player is going to wait longer by himself to
But
hear all the offers.
But that just shows how much Žalgiris has grown as an organization in terms of what they can provide for you. So first of all, obviously, just the facilities, for example, is something that is top tier in the EuroLeague's context, and probably you have maybe one or two other clubs who can provide you that much comfort. Let's say as a basketball player, this accessibility of the gym and all of those things. Another thing is obviously Žalgiris as a organization, you take a look at everything. It comes down to marketing. It comes down to competitiveness, the sustainability of their financially. Like they're never gonna be late with paying you a salary. All of these things, they just add up to a professional organization, and I think it is just a credit to that. Just last question regarding this topic then, since Sylvain said that he wants to see Žalgiris in the Final Four and he wants to lead the team there until 2027. Do you think Žalgiris makes the Final Four? Just a bold prediction?
Oh my God, that's a super bold prediction. I don't even know who's going to be on the team next season.
That's true. Who's going to be the coach? Maybe it's the same coach. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's.
I think it's not out of the question. All the cards has to go your way, because we have seen this season that from 3rd spot to 11th spot, basically home court advantage in the playoffs, and out of the play-in, it's only 3 wins right now, and Žalgiris has lost a lot of close games, I would say, or blown leads, when they were winning. So it's a fine line. Žalgiris are definitely able to do it, but you have to, you can't have an Iggy Brzezinski situation where he leaves before round 1. You can't have Tyrone Wallace situation where he leaves after round 2. You can't have this constant in-season movement without actually seeing how your summer roster that you prepared carefully in the summer works. You need to avoid injuries. You need to have some luck. And with all those things, I think it is doable.
But also, that's why I'm skeptical, because of the reasons you just mentioned, is the club's management in the recent years. I mean, even the situation with Coach Kazis Maksvitis, firing him, not firing him, then like the other 2 situations you mentioned with Brzezinski, with Wallace. All these inexperienced situations, let's say, or the inexperience of the management is just showing a bit after Paulius Motiejūnas became the CEO. And now there's new people in charge, Jankūnas, now Navickas, but essentially there hasn't been some stable and concrete decisions or decision-making so far. So we need to see something, consistency in those departments as well. Maybe, keep the same coach and try to grow the program, grow the core, all of that, and then see some results in the future. But there's just some doubtful actions that have happened that make me think that it's probably not going to happen, but I hope the opposite.
I think these 2 seasons have been a huge learning, experience for the management and for the coaches. I think they're writing down the lessons, and they know that it is not great to change the team in season. That's for sure. But hey, just as like with Francisco, I think we started with him. We have to finish this about him, because he was not, he's learning as a passer as we speak. I think in the last couple of months, his passing has been better, especially against the hedging defense. Like you can see, Žalgiris are learning how to play against that defense. And he's made some brilliant passes. Like even yesterday, 2 people are on him. He's making the right read. He's faking the pass to the left. He's passing right. So, I think everybody on Žalgiris are learning. So hopefully they can finally, in the next year, they don't have to deal with those mistakes they dealt before and just learn and be better.
Best of luck to Žalgiris then.